Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of what we're calling Lion Pause, P-A-U-S-E, as we are in pandemic mode yet for a little while longer. We're hoping to have some updates on a schedule maybe in the next 30 to 45 days. There are some signs, some good signs on the horizon. So we're hoping to have some news on that front in a little bit. But in the meantime and in between time, we will have another edition of Lion Pause. And we are very excited to be joined by three very cool guests. Leading things off, we have Lion Fight World Super Flyweight Champion from Glasgow, Scotland, Amy Pirnie. Hi, Amy. Welcome to the show.
Yes.
And we also have the newest member of the Lion Fight announce team from Kansas City, Missouri, Mr. Sean Wheelock.
Scott, how are you?
Good, sir. And the longest reigning member of the Lion Fight announce team, multi-time world champion, and just a good guy, Nathan Corbett. What the heck was I? Nathan Carnage Corbett. There we go. How you going, Nathan?
Good, thank you.
All right. Let's get things underway with sort of a fun question to start with. This will be the dream city or venue that you would like to fight in or call a fight in, since we are joined by our announce team. So, Amy, let's start with you. Maybe let's go with this. Where's been your favorite city that you've had a fight in, and where would be your dream location for a fight?
My favourite city that I've fought in so far is probably Rome.
Okay.
I fought in Infusion last year over there, so that was pretty awesome. The venue and stuff was pretty cool. It was in like a kind of old warehouse,
Nice.
which was good. But Rome was just a beautiful city to actually go and see as well. So that was obviously a bonus. And dream would be Vegas. Definitely Vegas, 100%. I've been to Vegas before with my family, and my cousin got married over there. So that was pretty awesome. So I'd love to fight in Vegas. I've seen some of the shows in Fremont Street, which was pretty cool setup and stuff. So yeah, definitely my dream to fight there.
Well, that might just be nice, and you never know. It would be very cool to have you basically down the street from me. That'd be great. So, Wheelock, let's go to you. Favorite city you have done a show in? I know you've been practically everywhere already, but has there been a spot, a city or a venue that you would like to do a show in?
Yeah, Italy sounds fantastic. I've been to the north of Italy. I've been to Milan and I've been to Padua, and that was for soccer in my previous life. But to go to Rome, to go to Italy, I know that it's a nation that really understands combat sports. They really understand Muay Thai. It's a phenomenal sporting nation. The time that I've been there, I just had an amazing experience with the culture. I think that would be a dream right now for me. I've had a chance to commentate fights in some pretty cool locations. Sao Paulo, Brazil was amazing. I've been to Myanmar on 4 occasions, I believe. I've been to Russia on about 30 occasions. Japan is always something special. And Amy, I will tell you, I've done a lot of fights in Vegas. There is nothing like it. Big show, small show, in between show. There is an energy when you're doing a combat sport in Las Vegas that's certainly unmatched in the United States, if not in the world.
That's awesome. And I know you at some point you and I are going to sit down and talk about all the experiences in Russia and crazy places. So and just like Nathan has a million stories too, and I know, Nathan, you've fought a lot of times at home in Australia. I'm guessing that probably there was a favorite spot in there. Where would be maybe now a place that you would really like to go and call a Lion Fight event?
Yeah, my brain was circling as you we're all speaking about, where'd I be and what's the best place, this fight, this country, that place. And then where I've actually fought in venues all around the world, which have been fantastic. I'll probably just want to give homage to my hometown because I've had, experiences all around the world, some great places. So I just want to give my favorite venue was my hometown, when you have those diehard fans screaming for you. Where would I like to go with Lion Fight? I mean, as a tourist, of course, I love Italy, but I think as the company, not the face of the company, but one of the face of the company that's really wanting to get Lion Fight to have that exposure in the USA. I feel like, of course, Vegas, we've been there, we're doing that, we'll stay there. I feel like just that the whole Madison Square Garden, New York City thing is such an icon in America for combat sports with all the legends that have been there in the past. So I'd love for us to get to that place where we can one day maybe do up a big show in New York City.
So let's stick with that for a moment, Nathan, if you will, and talk about, you've been with the company now since Lion Fight 50, which is about a year and a half. Talk about how Lion Fight has pushed Muay Thai to a better spot in the States in the last maybe year or two.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a great question, because since I moved to America 2 years ago, it was only, say 6-8 months after I got here that I, had the opportunity to work for Lion Fight and Lion Fight 50. And just having my whole fight career before, in the past, and I fought in America once, in Chicago in 2011, sorry. But moving over here and seeing how big America is, and how there's so many opportunities for Muay Thai to grow, and there's no one doing Muay Thai events like Lion Fight. It's like if you were the only promotion in the whole of United States that has any weight, has any history, and has any real substance to it, is Lion Fight. So when I see that from a former champion to now being in America now, obviously calling the fights for Lion Fight, I think it's a no-brainer that as an investor, as a sponsor, as a supporter, you've got the whole market. The whole of the United States is in the hand for Lion Fight, because there is no one else. And I will say this, I now know how people can predict the future, and they predict the future of knowledge, experience, and knowing the market. And I want to predict the future with Lion Fight, because in Australia, I can tell you right now, there is never going to be another Muay Thai promotion like there was when I was fighting. Not because of me, just that era, that time. It was phenomenal. Fox Sports filmed it, Michael Schiavello, everyone. All these legend fighters. Mark my words, if people don't get behind Lion Fight, you can kiss Muay Thai goodbye in the USA in the future. We are the saving grace for Muay Thai in America. So we really need support from everyone to get behind it, because we are, as I'm telling you, from predicting the future. There might be some small little shows going around, but there'll never be that beacon up here like we know of UFC and Bellator, such and such. Lion Fight is the brand. Lion Fight is the promotion, and people need to wake up and know that's the reality of it. That's the truth of it. And if we want Muay Thai to really expand, and in the USA, forget the world. This is where we are. We're in the USA. Of course, we fly international fighters like Amy and all our champions from around the world to bring them here, because it's a collective. But the brand Lion Fight is a USA stamped brand, and we've got the whole market.
Following up on that, Amy, obviously your first fight in the States last April came. What was the opportunity for you to come to the States for the first time and fight for that world championship?
It was pretty surreal, to be honest. I'd fought on shows abroad and things like that before, but like Lion Fight was probably the first big travel I'd done to go fight, and it was far away from home and far away from your comfort zone. And like normally I've got all my fans with me, like they travel everywhere, to be honest, but Albuquerque was just that wee bit too far for them to go. So it was my first experience probably fighting away from home, just me and my coach. So that was different. That was a different experience for me. But it was good in the same sense as well, like not having that pressure of like fans and stuff like that there with you. So that was the first thing, obviously stepping off the plane and being in this country and not knowing like what's going to happen next and stuff like that was quite surreal. But from that moving up, from getting off the plane to meeting the promoter to going to the the weigh-ins, the show, everything went absolutely perfectly, and it was so comfortable, because everything was taken care of very professionally, and it was done amazing, to be honest. I mean, you knew where you had to be at every time, and then to the actual fight, the actual production was like spot on. It was amazing, like getting your gloves checked and wraps checked and all that kind of stuff. It's very professional. We don't have that over here. It's not like that. It's like you throw on a pair of gloves, like the referee kind of gives them a wee squeeze, checks them out, and then that's you're good to go, sort of thing. But I really liked that professionalism, and it kind of showed like where the sport could go if it was run like lion fight. Do you know what I mean? So the venue and stuff was amazing. That was pretty cool.
So I want to keep you there for a minute. Go back to that fight, and we're going to eventually be showing that fight as one of our fights of the week. So I wanted to talk to you about that fight while you're on that subject. Did you ever, in your wildest dream world title fight, think that you could win the world championship in less than a minute?
It's not the first time I've won a fight in less than a minute. To be honest, so
and that's not bragging, that's just fact. So
yeah, I've had a few early stoppages, I've had a few first round stoppages, but I think that was my third or fourth fight over my professional career that was ended in less than a minute. With Sandra, probably not, to be honest, because I've seen her fight and she's quite experienced. She's a very tough girl. I know she's knocked out a few girls in Thailand and in the UK and stuff like that as well. So I thought it was going to be a kind of long-winded, tough match. I felt I would have had the upper hand in strength and technique and stuff like that. But so I wasn't expecting that kind of quick finish. But I think you can see quite clearly in the video of it that as soon as I see the opening, my eyes light up and kind of just go for the kill. So yeah, I definitely think that as soon as I seen it, I just went for that quick finish. So
you knew, I think I believe it was the kick to the body that set up the ultimate finish, which was a left hook to the body. But did you kind of sense when you cracked her with that kick that I got her?
Her face changed. So as soon as I hit her with a kick, she had a kind of grimace on her face, and she dropped her elbow down straight away, and you could see that it took the wind out of her. So the main thing was trying to get the finish round about that kind of dropped elbow. So I felt like going round the back of the arm where she was protecting herself, and then hitting her with the knee at the front would have definitely got the finish. So as soon as the left kick landed, you seen her face and her elbow drop anyway. It's quite clear in the video. So yeah.
And then there's that moment, right, where the belt gets put around your waist and you get to talk to Nathan about the absolute destruction that you put together. Talk about that from the fighter's perspective of just, all your anticipation and everything is paid off, that you've won the world championship in lion fight. I
actually don't even remember what I said to Nathan after the fight, to be honest. I was actually just like buzzing. So it was a surreal feeling. Like any fighter knows, like when you get into competition, you're building yourself up for it. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get into a certain mindset. You've got to get your adrenaline going. You know that you're buzzed up and ready to go. Do you know what I mean? So you've got all that built up energy and all those feelings like bounced about in your head after like 47 seconds or less. Do you know what I mean? Less than that minute to have all that like built up energy for landing in Albuquerque to the actual fight. After it was so surreal to be over and done with that quick, that like getting the belt round my body. It was just, I don't know. It was a strange feeling because it was over and done with so fast, and then like I had the belt and it was like what do I do now? Like, I think I was bounced about the hotel room for hours after it, to be honest.
So taking kind of that note, Sean Wheelock, do you enjoy, or what, maybe do you enjoy, I don't know if that's the right word, but what is the better situation for the play-by-play guy? A fast finish, violent finish like that Amy put together, or do you prefer like a 5-round war?
You know, it really depends on the fighters, and that's a great question, Scott. You know, I love everything about fighting. So there are fights that are very quick that are just a pleasure to commentate, and I've commentated long fights. I've commentated full 12-round fights in boxing and numerous full 5 rounds in MMA, going the distance in Muay Thai as well. So it depends on the athletes. The way in watching that video, and I did not commentate that fight, but the way that Amy came through, you're throwing the body, that's just phenomenal. That liver shot, I like the intensity. I like when 2 fighters are going hard and they're going for the finish. My good friend Neil Grove, English heavyweight, who we were together in Bellator, would always say, this isn't basketball. I'm not here to score points. Nathan, you made your career on not being there to score points. Amy, I see the way you fight. It's going out with the mindset that I want to finish. I want to get out of here quickly. And whatever it takes, I'm going to get that victory. That's what I love as a commentator.
Nathan, I mean, obviously you had piles of unbelievable finishes in your career. Many of them are still highlights today. What is it that is in a fighter? I guess what I'm trying to maybe get around to phrasing in a question is, how do you convince fighters to go for a finish? Because that is something that, you know, Lion Fight has built up a long, long reputation of having some unbelievable knockout finishes. Yet at the same time, there's a lot of fighters who people will say, yeah, I really like watching that guy, but doesn't finish. How do you kind of convince a fighter, or how do you have maybe present that mentality to a fighter to say, guys or girls, you need to get out there and finish, because that's what people want to see?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because, you know, as a commentator, when I'm watching fights, or if I talk to the boys, or even the girls before the fight, I'm like, you know, we want knockouts. You know, I mean, we want knockouts because it's, you know, it's action, it's TV, it's exciting. That's what people want to see. Now, I can say those words, and of course, every fighter, you know, in their mind thinks, well, they want to get a knockout. Of course, they're always aiming for a knockout in some way. But the thing that they don't understand, if the ones who don't get the knockouts, and I didn't knock everyone out, I went the distance some fights, but I tried to knock them out from as soon as the bell rang. Now, it's not a matter of going in there and just throwing wild, stupid shots. You have to calculate it. But the mentality has to be, I'm not here to care what the referee says, to care what the judges are putting down, and I'm not trying to score a point to get up on the points. That's the mentality you have to shift. You have to get rid of that. Like, there is no, I never kicked an arm 5 times in a round and counted it. I kicked an arm to smash the arm. I kicked a leg to break the leg. I smashed the face to smash the face, and so forth. So they need to go in there with the mentality of, there is no judge. So when people go and complain about the judging was wrong, complain about your style. Complain about your techniques not being sufficient enough to knock them out. I knew if I went the distance with a fight, I never thought when I went the distance that I win this fight. I always knew I won. I either lost, or I clearly won, or I knocked him out. That's it. I don't need a judge. I don't need a referee. I don't need a score system to tell me that.
Do you think that's why over the past, you know, since you've been involved, so about 1.5 years, 2 years, do you think that's why certain fighters like Amy, like Joe Stripling, like Ricardo Mixco have become fan favorites, as opposed to maybe some other fighters, because they have that mentality of, I'm not here for 15 minutes of work. I'm here for as fast as I can get out of here and finish whoever's across from me?
Absolutely. That's it. So if you pull the trigger within the first second of the fight, and you do that for every second till the final bell, and you go the distance, no one's going to say, oh, he went the distance, or she went the distance. Because you showed enthusiasm, and you showed that your hunger to try and win the fight. Just the fighter on the other side wasn't going to let it happen that easily, and you didn't get the knockout. There's no excuse. I've said this on a few of my posts. There's no excuse for being cold. You have to be red hot every time. Think about it with Lion Fight. You're only going to get 1 or 2 fights, if you're lucky, 3 fights a year. So you better show up every second of every round. So therefore, when you show up like that, you will get a knockout. You will get a stoppage because your brutality and your pressure will crush and break people. And if they don't break, that's okay. You fought a really good opponent, but at least no one will be like, oh, that was a boring fight. Okay, so that's why these people are loved, because they have that mentality that they want to finish. Now, I watched Amy fight, when we were in Sweden,
Yep.
Against Salomini, which is a Thailand, as we know, the Thailand killer, the legend, and blah, 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 and she is that. And she fought a savage 5-round intelligent fight, but still, even though she was intelligent with the fight, she still was going for the win.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was just coasting, trying to get through it intelligently. She was intelligently savage.
Didn't get the knockout, but
you get a knockout because
going for the knockout all night.
You're fighting a superstar. You're not going to get it every time.
Yep.
But she still won every round in my mind.
Thank you.
So let's do another one of sort of our fun questions. We'll start with Sean this time. Normally, this question is, what is your favorite post-weigh-in and post-fight meal? Yeah. So, obviously you don't have to worry so much about maybe carving up for the event, but tell us.
I can answer this for Sean anyways. His favorite post-fight meal is bread, carbs, and Mountain Dew diet. Okay?
You got me. That's it.
Afterwards, he likes either a good beer or a good scotch.
You know me too well. One show together and you have me pegged.
Yeah.
And that's it. What's funny, though, is that I think because I have so many friends who are professional fighters and I still like to kid myself and I still train at an MMA gym. At least I did when the world was kind of on its axis. I think the gyms are opening up where I'm speaking to you on Monday. I've never been so excited to go in and get beaten up in my whole life. This is going to be great. But I try to get my own rituals, my own routine. So Nathan's right. No matter where you find me in the world commentating, you're going to see a 2-liter bottle of Diet Mountain Dew. I like it. It keeps it's all psychological, by the way, like all this stuff is. But just like the pre-fight rituals, right, Nathan, right, Amy? It's all psychological, but if we believe it, it works. But I like the 2-liter Diet Mountain Dew. It keeps my voice to where I want it. It keeps my throat fresh, but it's not sticky. It's not heavy. Brett is right. I do like the carbo load. What I learned being a very young commentator in this business and young in radio and young in TV, I started when I was 18. Don't eat anything where you're thinking about what you ate when you're on the air. So Nathan, you're absolutely right. I like to have bread. I like to have carbo load. I want to feel full without feeling like, wow, I probably shouldn't have had that curry before. Maybe the Thai food wasn't a good decision. And then afterwards, then we eat, and you're right. Yeah, have a nice scotch, have a nice whiskey, and that's the way to mellow down. But we all get our routines. We go through, we get our rituals, we get our routines. Whether you're commentating, whether you're fighting, you're trying to reach your comfort zone for the absolute peak performance. I also like the idea, and I know this is key when you're a fighter, is whether you're fighting in Myanmar or you're fighting in Italy or you're fighting in Las Vegas, same as a commentator. Once you get in there, you want to feel like you're at home. And that's the whole idea. You want to normalize things. You want to ritualize things as much as you can so you're absolutely comfortable in there and you can do the absolute best job that you can.
So I'm pretty sure I know Amy's post weigh-in or at least pre-fight meal is pancakes. I'm pretty sure I nailed that down because I sat not that far from her in her American debut, and there was this ginormous plate of pancakes about 12 o'clock in the afternoon on fight day. So let's, Amy, to you then.
I know her post meal.
Okay, all right, because I was going to ask her post fight. So Nathan,
let me just guess first, because I know she likes about 10 Guinnesses. She did in Sweden anyway.
Yeah,
all right,
definitely.
Is that okay? So Guinness and what to eat after a fight? So
after a fight, I usually diet quite heavy, like getting into fights and stuff like that, trying not to lose like a lot of water and stuff. So post weigh-in meal is usually like something salty, carby and stuff like that to try and hold on some water to get that back in me and stuff. Never really ran off the diet, except in Albuquerque when I had a big like stack of pancakes because I got to weigh in early in the morning. I've never weighed in early in the morning in my life, so so yeah, but post fight is just generally what I'm kind of craving. But pizza is probably a go-to. To be fair, I like a pizza after a fight because it's something that's just a no-go when you're in fight camp. So pizza and Guinness beer.
Now, and I'm pretty sure that that night in Albuquerque, I saw Nathan down a fairly substantial burger after the show. So,
I'm picking up the American dream, mate.
That's right.
and we also went from Mexican after the weigh-in. So how did that size up for you, Nathan?
I mean, I just eat everything. You know me. I just
Yeah.
eat. That's it. Scott Kett will tell you he's got to you know, pay for all the meals when I'm traveling with him.
One other kind of fun question I wanted to ask everybody, and Sean, I guess maybe we'll start with you on this one. You know, fighters, you kind of mentioned rituals and stuff like that. Fighters always get to pick their walkout song, but we wanted to take that an extra step at this time and really think outside the box. So if you could have someone as your dream, maybe like instead of a walkout song, you would have them perform live for you on your way to your ringside table, or you could have somebody way out of the box sit beside you and be like your guest color commentator for a fight. Who would that be?
I'm choosing Nathan because
Oh,
we have a nice
come on.
partnership going, so I'm taking Nathan. I will tell you though on the music. So I started in all this craziness. I started refereeing professional boxing when I was about 21 or 22 years old. And the audacity of being that young and doing small shows. So I thought, I need my own music. So I was a big Public Enemy fan at the time, which kind of gives you the era of when I was 21 and 22 years old. So I had the DJ. I was in Topeka, Kansas, and I was the only referee on the card back then. It was kind of before commissions. It was a little looser on these things. So I had to do like 15 fights that night. So when they introduced me and I came out to Fight the Power by Public Enemy. So
Oh, yeah.
So maybe if we get Chuck D and Flava Flav now, you know, they're well into their 50s and I lead quieter lives. But if they would come and do that, Nathan, I don't know. You know, I couldn't get them. I think, Nathan, you could probably get Chuck D and Flava Flav.
Well,
Maybe
Flava
they play us
Flav
out.
actually does. I don't know if he lives here in Vegas, but he is quite often here. So maybe there's a chance for at least a guest color commentator spot.
Scott, you gets the hookup then. But I'll stick to Nathan as my partner. That's just to play us in. But no, I want Nathan
man,
by my
come on.
side, man.
Okay, so let's go to Nathan then. You know, let's say Sean does not have his Diet Mountain Dew. He's pulled the chute to do the show.
Show's over.
Who would be like the guest that you would want beside you at your ringside table to call the fight?
Probably Michael Chiavello.
Okay.
Because he you know, he's a legend of. I think he's probably one of the best in the world, and he called all my fights. You know, growing up and fighting in Australia, and I know he worked for Lion Fight in the beginning when he was living in the US and stuff. So I just think it'd be cool, like, to do a full circle, and sit next to him and call the fights together. So, but I'm super happy with my crew, with Sean and Matt and Dave when they come on board. I'm super stoked to be working with those boys. You know, they're teaching me a lot, and I'm loving it. So
Okay,
I mean, I don't really have anyone in particular. I like my team already, so I'm good.
So Amy, for you then, you can have an artist, a singer, a band play live for you to do your walkout song, or you could have somebody that you've always wanted to be in your walkout entourage. Who would it be?
So my mum and dad actually pick all my walkout music for me.
No, really, Amy? Really?
Yeah. So my mum and dad are like kind of big into that. So as I say, they're like my number one fans. They go everywhere with me. So like the music gets them like kind of psyched up for it, probably more than myself. So they usually pick it. But if I was to pick, it would probably be Andrea Bocelli.
Okay.
So my papa was a big fan of him, and we seen him in Manchester last year, and he was unbelievable. So I think I'd definitely pick him. I think that would be a good way to start a fight, to be honest.
And anybody living, dead, famous, not famous, that you would want on that walkout for your title fight with you?
Rab, he comes with me everywhere anyway, but he's got my back. That's the person I know who's got my back. I've been quite fortunate to have like my dad and my uncle and stuff like that come into my corner and things like that as well at shows. So that's been pretty good. But I really couldn't ask for anybody better than Rab, to be honest. So I'm pretty set with that.
Amy, I wanted to ask you a question. There's always talk when we get to do champions in any combat sport, but particularly it seems now that everybody wants to be labeled, and one of the labels out there is the baddest person on the planet. So there's the female fighter, she's the baddest woman on the planet, or the guy who's the baddest, the BMF title holder and all that kind of stuff. Should you not be considered to be one of, if not the baddest women on the planet?
That's a hard question, to be honest, because I'm not a bad person. You know what I mean? I'm not a nice person. I know what you mean. But yeah, I know what you mean though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably I've fought some of the top girls, and I will fight anybody that's put in front of me. Do you know what I mean? I don't ever back down for a fight, and I think that I've proved myself to be at the top of the pile. Do you know what I mean? So if people want to label me as that or look at me that way, then that's pretty cool. It's a good thing for people to think, but I don't think of myself like that at all. So but yeah, I suppose it's a pretty good label to have.
So I'm going to ask Nathan then. Nathan, should Amy Pirnie be considered the baddest woman on the planet?
Well, I like her answer with saying how she's not a bad person. I really do like that, because the way that the UFC played it up with their BMF belt was like they were really bad kind of dudes, and they kind of suited both of those characters pretty well. So in fairness, it was good for them. But I just don't like the idea of glorifying the baddest mother, effer in the world. I don't like the glorifying.
Okay, but maybe do this then. Maybe change it a bit then to should she be the most dangerous woman on the planet?
The most feared?
The most feared, the most dangerous, something like that.
Yeah, Ken Shamrock was the world's most dangerous man, Amy. So there you go.
I'm a huge fan of Amy, so 100%, I think she deserves that title.
All right, and Nathan, I've been back in the day before 2 hip replacements. You would probably have to have been amongst the baddest men on the planet, and probably could have given Ken Shamrock all he wanted.
Well, look, you know what? If I was to be honest with you, if it took me back down to say my cruiserweight weight division, there was no one in the world that could beat me, and that's in Muay Thai. Full stop. No one. So.
Sean,
you can call that whatever you want to call
it. Sean, I wanted to ask you the next question, and pertains to your background. Obviously, you're brand new to Lion Fight, but of course, I think most people will know you from Bellator. They're going to know you from multiple other shows, but you've done boxing, you've done MMA, you've done Muay Thai, kickboxing, you've done combat jiu-jitsu. Where does your passion for combat sports come from?
It's almost inborn. It's weird. My father was a huge boxing fan. I was raised by my mom. I'm the only child of a single mom, but my dad was in my life, and I spent a lot of Friday nights at his house and Saturday afternoons, and we watched a lot of boxing together. My dad was a huge boxing fan. He was never a fighter, wasn't a tough guy at all, wasn't really an athlete, but he loved boxing. I found boxing at a very young age. This is pre-MMA. I also fell in love with pro wrestling. Okay. I was someone who just loved fights. I was never a thug. I was never a bully. I was never a tough kid, but I loved fights. Nathan, tell me if you agree with this. I have a theory. You can judge, and Amy, you too. You can judge a lot about people by how they react to a fight in a crowd, okay? Some people see a fight in a crowd, and it's the flight mechanism. They turn and they run away. Other people see a fight in a crowd, and they want to be the peacemaker. They want to come in. They want to break it up, even if they don't know the participants. Some people, and they probably have a screw loose, they see a fight in a crowd, they just run in and start punching people. And then there are people like me who see a fight in a crowd, and they kind of politely push forward because they want to see as much, pardon the pun, Nathan, as much carnage as possible. That was me. I've just always been attracted to fights. I've always been attracted to combat.
You're a violent man. You're a violent
I hate conflict, and I love fighting. So as a kid, boxing, pro wrestling, when I didn't understand the difference between works and shoots, but it was pro wrestling to me. And I'm in that audience. I don't know if you guys can see, I have the original UFC 1 poster, an original print behind me. In my office here at home in Kansas City. My mom paid the $14.95. I watched UFC 1 live on pay-per-view. I recorded it. I still have a VCR just so I can play those old UFC VHSs. Not the ones that came out on Vidmark Home Entertainment later, but you had to be nerdy enough to actually put in a tape Amy, you're not going to know what a tape is or a VCR or a VHS, but put in a tape and record it and then save it 25 years later. So it's a weird conundrum. I never wanted to be a violent person. I'm not, but I love fighting. I love going to the gym. I love training. And even though I'm very, very mediocre at everything and never thought I would be a professional fighter, never flattered myself, but I still love training. I still love going in, and I still love sparring, and I still love rolling with guys. It's just something about that one-on-one. So many people are either team sports people or they're individual sports people. And there was something about the individual sports that drew me into that as well.
Okay. Amy, I wanted to ask you, I mean, you were amongst a number of fighters who've had their next fight postponed. You know, you were pretty much scheduled to be defending your Lion Fight title in August in the US. That's obviously not going to happen because there's just so much still unknown and things like that. But on the horizon, obviously, will be your next title defense. What can fans expect to see from you? Have you are you in the process of changing anything in your game? Are you learning anything new that would be a new technique in the ring, anything along those lines? Or are you pretty much set and whoever is going to be across from you is going to get what they get?
I think like with combat sports, there's always room for improvement. There's always ways to tweak your game. Do you know what I mean? Even from wins, you learn. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's always constant improvement. Rab tells me I'm my own worst critic. Even when I win, I'm never happy. Do you know what I mean? So there's always something for me to work on. There's always something to go back to the gym with. If I told you I'd be giving stuff away, what we work on and stuff like that. But I'm definitely working to improve areas in my game that I've seen in my last few fights that are weaknesses for me. In terms of like whoever it is I'm fighting and stuff like that, I don't really look at people much anymore because I just go in with my own game plan of I've trained hard, I've improved every area of my game, I'm fit, I'm ready, and for me, there shouldn't be anybody that should beat me if I'm on top form. So I've been training every day, twice a day to try and like just like kind of get over boredom and stuff like that. So I've probably been training harder now that I'm not working and stuff like that. I mean, because I can spend like 2-3 hours in the gym without having to think about seeing clients or coaching people and things like that. So there's definitely been a lot of time spent on like technical drills and things like that. So I definitely think I'll come out the other side of this a better, more improved fighter, which I suppose is a good thing. Do you know what I mean? There's a good thing to take away from like all the madness that's happening in the world just now. But in terms of fights, it's pretty gutting not to have a fight this year. I finished up in October last year. I had a couple of offers for like November, December, but in Sweden, I broke my foot fighting Lomini.
Okay. Yeah.
So I fractured my foot, but I already had a title defence for my SKA set up in Finland 5 weeks later. So I literally had to train on my broken foot, fight, and then kind of like try and rest for the rest of the year and come back into into 2020. And then this happened. So I've not had any fights. So come October, it'll be a year out. So it's going to be difficult to gauge how getting back into the ring will be. Do you know what I mean? Like if there is going to be ring rust or whatever, but I'm doing everything to try and combat that happening.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you because, I mean, you're just so exciting. Obviously, the Godvik fight for the title originally was an unbelievable finish on your part. And then, as Nathan said, just a terrific fight against Lomini to retain the title. So I know everybody, whether you're wherever you might be in the world, there's fans of Amy Pirnie and they're ready to see you fight again. So we're looking forward to that for sure.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to be back on.
And Nathan, I wanted to ask you as well, in terms of, you know, you've been now, I believe it's 13 shows with Lion Fight, about a year and a half. Can you pick a few fighters? I know it's going to be very difficult to ask you to say pick one fighter but maybe a small handful of fighters who, when we tell you who's on the card, you go, okay, great. I can't wait to see that guy or girl.
Well, definitely Amy, straight away. And I just wanted to talk about when you're asking her about her training and developing and stuff. I feel like the one thing about Amy is she has everything covered. I mean, I've seen her out clinch Lomini. Not out punch her. Like people say she's got strong punches and because she's such an athlete, she's got such power. She out clinched her. She swept her about, I reckon, 20 times in 5 rounds. So she's going to be hard to beat. That's for sure going forward. Line fight, you know, I like the I like the bangers, you know what I mean? So I'm excited. Like obviously Big Joe, you know, like I saw you just put the highlight the other day up of him, you know, fighting Cody and Albuquerque. You know, that 5-round battle was just you know, phenomenal. Then obviously then he come back and fought again then in Foxwoods and had a good win, good stoppage. So, you know, he really excites me. Who else is who else is?
How about our boy Jake Peacock?
Jake Peacock is, you know, the thing about Jake Peacock is I don't know who you're going to get to fight him. Like, seriously, like every opponent you put in front of him, he just completely carves them up. Like, I've called 3 of his fights. It's been 3 stoppages. The way he moves, if anyone who's been watching him at home training on his, you know, in his lounge room or in his gym with his beautiful wife, he's so sharp. Like he's just razor sharp everything he does, you know. So
how about Nathan? How about Jake Peacock against Josh Aragon?
Look, they're the same weight, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Peacock, to be honest with you, is too sharp now. Like Aragon is a veteran. He's been around a long time. He's a tough lad. He's a journeyman. I just feel like it's probably not the smartest fight for him to take now. If he, you know, after some time out of the ring and stuff. I put my money on Peacock for that fight. He's the next thing. He's the next generation. He's at that right age. You know, the whole arm thing, you know, it just blows my mind still. And he's just phenomenal. Like I see him hitting the pads, and you know, he's elbowing the pads the other day. I'm like, man, his elbows are better than mine. They're super sharp, and he's just phenomenal. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of obviously the cruiserweights. You know, I'd like to see Chip finish someone. I'd love to see him knock someone out. You know, he's a talented fighter. He's got all the skills. He has the power. I'd love to see him put someone away. I mean, Brett Holovichik, you know, is a friend of mine. He's a technician. I think I'd love to see Brett, you know, in a fight where he doesn't just use his technique, where he actually tries to go for the knockout, because he has power. He has the skill when he gets annoyed. Just a little buzz. That'd be super cool. So
Nathan, sticking with those couple of guys that you mentioned, you called Joey George beating Brett Holovichik for the North American Cruiserweight title. How far off is Joey George from being able to tangle with Chip?
I think Joey could probably step in there now and handle it. You know, he's such a tough lad, and he doesn't really care. He just comes straight forward. I mean, Chip's super smart. He is the surgeon for a reason, and he has that technical ability to not really fall into the trap of a scrap, let's just say. I think he could definitely be matched up, and you have a good fight. I don't know if Chip would be able to just easily finish him. You know, Joey's a tough dude, and I don't think he'd be able to finish him. But you know, in saying that, he probably hasn't had enough fights yet to have the right fight for the belt. You know, I think he needs to maybe defend his national title first before he got the right to step up. You know what I mean?
And that's definitely like where we're working at right now, is to have Joey.
I feel like, you know, in the future, if Joey's still around, he's still winning, then that's a possibility to do that fight. For now, I think he just needs to earn a few more stripes. I mean, because even though he's talented, he hasn't been around that much. He had a long break out of the ring for his Muay Thai, then he come back to it and had a win. I mean, in the future, yes, but right now, probably not.
Okay, one other guy I wanted to ask you
Toughness wise, he's got it.
Yeah.
100%, but yeah.
One other guy I wanted to ask you about, and you mentioned Joe Stripling. Do you foresee, I personally think a very exciting fight could be Joe Stripling at heavyweight facing world cruiserweight champion Steve Walker. Get Steve to come up a few pounds. I think that could be an unbelievable fight because you've got Walker's style and his, you know, his incredible athleticism against just Bazooka Joe.
Yeah, that's an interesting fight. I never even gave that thought. I mean, there's no reason why Steve couldn't come up to heavyweight because he's a pretty big, what I would call cruiserweight. Like even now when I think, wow, like that was the division I was fighting in it. And what do they fight at 205, is it?
Yeah, Steve's fighting at 205.
Yeah, I mean, he's just phenomenal. He's big. I don't think he'd be able to put Joe away, you know, because as we know, Joe is absolutely granite. But maybe the range and his awkward movement might be a little bit more three-dimensional for Joe to maybe combat, you know. And I say that in the highest respect to Joe. He's one of my biggest. I'm the biggest fan of his, and I just feel it might be a bit hard to catch Steve with his switching and his stance and his range and his distance and his athleticism, especially as the fight went on, maybe into the deeper rounds. But it would be a fight that I'd be very interested in calling. But here's the thing that I want to say about matchups is people don't make fights like names. It's styles.
Yeah.
It's styles make fights. And the one thing about Steve is his style isn't that pretty, but he is dangerous. You know, he is very dangerous. Like, he's very dangerous. He's athletic. He's explosive. He's got this weird timing about himself. You never know which angle it's coming from. So sometimes matching him up against someone like Joe wouldn't be as exciting as like our first shot where Joe would fight someone like Cody East, you know. And they're the kind of fights I want to see. That's like Mark Hunt when he fought Ray Sefo, you know, like, there's two balls, like just two, like they're not taking a back step. And these fights are the exciting fights. You see so many times, you know, Bone Jones fighting someone that is supposed to be a killer, but then his awkward style makes the fight, you know, shit. So I'm more interested in matching fights that we really know they're going to connect. They're going to butt heads like two rams and then see who can be the winner.
Well, we're going to talk on one of our next upcoming editions of Lion Paws. We had Joey George on the first one. Joey's upcoming opponent is Chris Trammell. So I think
Chris, you know, he's a tough dog, you know, he's super hungry. You know, that was going to be the May 16th show in Texas, and you know, I was really excited about that because I'm friends with Chris's now, and I really do like Joey. You know, he's the kind of guy that just makes you laugh, makes you smile, and he's a good dude. So they're both good guys, and that would have been a tough fight. You know, I feel like you know, obviously Joey's got the height, you know, the height advantage there, so it might have been difficult. But you know, Chris, you know, he's hungry, man. Like that guy, you can't kill that guy.
So I want to wrap things up with one last kind of fun question. Everybody's, for the most part, got a lot of extra time on their hands right now. And I wanted to ask you if you are binge watching anything, if you are going back and watching a favorite movie, or if by any chance you might be trying to perfect a recipe of some kind. Let's start with Amy.
I think in the first couple of weeks, everybody was talking about Tiger King.
Yes.
On Netflix, and I think everybody's binge watched the Tiger King, so binge watched that was over and done in a couple of days, so crazy, absolutely crazy. But I got Disney Plus on my phone. I'm like a huge Disney and Marvel kind of fan, so I've been watching the Marvel movies kind of from the start through to now, so yeah, I've been doing that. So
any favorite amongst the Marvels? Do you have a favorite character or a favorite movie?
Probably Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Just because they've got kind of good patter, we would call it in Scotland. So yeah, it's quite good. It's quite fun and stuff like that. But that's my favorite, definitely.
Okay. Very cool. Sean, a binge watch, a favorite movie, a recipe, anything along those lines?
Yeah, Scott, I'm with Amy. We blew through Tiger King pretty quickly. and I'll give my wife credit. She watches a lot of Netflix, and she was like, oh, babe, I think this is something we would like. So even before all the hype on Tiger King, we were pretty much through the series, and it's brilliant. I think I've been able to clear off my DVR. That's my one accomplishment over these 2 months. Is normally I have, because I travel so much and I'm obsessively recording fights, and I'm a huge Manchester United fan as well. So there's always a backlog, and I can go back and watch something even if I know the result. So I went from like 91% perpetually full my DVR to like 2% now, which is brilliant. And then when I exhausted that and I realized I was only about 2 weeks into all of this fun, so then I started going back and I started watching a lot of old Muhammad Ali's, and then I went down the rabbit hole of old Mike Tyson's. Earlier this week, I watched Hagler versus Leonard, which I've watched 5,000 times, but I haven't watched that in at least 10 years. And now, and no judgments on my parenting, but my 14-year-old daughter and I, we've been watching American Horror Story. She's onto that. So we're now finishing season number 4 of American Horror Story. Again, no judgments on the parenting, please.
Nathan, I know you're either out at the beach or doing some sort of crazy video, shadow boxing. So you're not wasting any of your time by any means. But have you had a moment to cook something new, watch something old?
No, to be honest, I did watch the Tiger thing as well. My friend texted me, so I watched that a little bit. But you know what? I very rarely turn the TV on, that, to be honest with you, that much. Like occasionally I will, and it's a treat to sit down. I have the time. I just sometimes don't do that. To watch a movie occasionally is always a treat. I actually, this book is amazing. I got this new book called The Millennium Samurai. I was lucky enough to get this beautiful silverback copy from the author who lives in Vegas. He sent it to me, and it's an amazing book. So just been reading up on that, and just working on my my public sort of speaking roles, and just putting out a lot of sort of motivational videos to the wall. Like, when this whole virus hit and everyone was going crazy with online this and online that and this and da 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 da. I just wanted to step away from the online like fight training stuff, because I don't really feel like it's that impressive to do it through a camera, unless it's a film studio production professional and so forth. So I just went more into using words as something to try and help people and pushing that message out there to the world. So that's been me.
Well, I want to thank all three of you. We've got to pretty much wrap it up because it's almost Amy's bedtime. It's 11 o'clock in Glasgow. So we don't want to keep her up too late, but world champion Amy Pirnie, thank you so much. Sean Wheelock and Nathan Corbett from Team Lion Fighter side. We appreciate your time, guys. And thank you so much for doing this. And we look forward to seeing you in person very soon.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.